Therefore, death is not a thing of fear and desperation, but...
That's right, Casteress. It is the reason we shed tears when parting ways, and also the original spark that ignited the passion of mortals. If you truly intend to deprive the world of death, then be prepared to witness it return to a state of stagnation.
I understand, Lady Amunet. Our limited lifespan shapes all that we know and love. Not even the Death Titan has the right to take that away from humankind again. Nestia's love was the chrysalis of Gold's first blessing, but it most likely wasn't understood by mankind. We only learned to interpret this wonderful gift after Thanatos' arrival. If the world was bereft of death, then the Queen of Styxia wouldn't have played midwife in delivering me into this world. You wouldn't have welcomed me into Idonia, and Aglaya would never have invited me to join the Flame Chase journey. None of these stories would ever have happened, and I would never have lived, let alone found happiness. Thank you, Mother. I will use all the love I've experienced in this long life to complete the final miracle. My teacher, Anaxagoras, grant me the wisdom of all things. I call upon thee, the stripped dead dragon's corpse. Rises from the earth, falls from the sky. As above, so below. This is the greatest power of all powers. Unstoppable in this world. The great work that commands all death. I shall grant you embrace.
Do we still have the upper hand?
As you wish. And I know you're anxious. Shh. Don't be afraid.
Enemy data secure. Net markers activated. Time for a good old counterattack.
Wilt here.
Step up, let's see ya. Time to mix things up.
I shall remember
Life's
this
like a
moment.
good, my friends. Indulge yourselves!
Embrace a new life.
In the mood for another beating?
That hurts a bit.
Enemy targets detected.
Confidence.
There's no more need to weep in grief. I will grant you peace. This is Terra. Yes, it's me. I'm back.
Return to dust.
Be careful. They may be moving by instinct, but there is fury welling up within them.
Commencing support. Enemy data secure. Net markers activated. Time for a good old counterattack.
Step up, let's see ya. Time to mix things up.
May death protect us! Please, don't turn back to the Nether Realm. Oh, death. Sleep in peace. I'm sorry I have to wake you up from ancient death. And I know you're anxious. Shh. Don't be afraid. Do you remember me? I'm the girl you once carried across the Sea of Souls. I'm sorry I wasn't able to remember you, but with the help of many people, I was finally able to pick up these broken fragments of my past. I'm back, Pollux. I know this might not be what you wanted. But I have to do this. So please, carry me across the Sea of Souls again and return me to the Nether Realm, just like you did in the past. Please take me to where the core flame of death rests. I'll be going now. They may look scary, but as long
What's wrong?
Are you...
What's wrong with her?
Her time is almost up. If I don't go now, I'm afraid her soul will return to Thanatos' embrace before me.
What? Oh no! Is there anything we can do?
Don't worry. I promised I would ask Thanatos for the Trailblazers' right to roam the Earth again. Mem, stay here and keep a close watch until I return, all right?
All right. I'm the best at taking care of others. Go on, Cass. Make sure not to leave yourself with any regrets. That's not funny!
It's a deal then. Please. Wait for me.
After all that, you still ended up back here.
So the legends were true. The Netherrealm really is a sea of flowers.
Yes. Just like the flower fields we tended to back then.
Is that you, Plixia?
Do you remember me?
I don't have the memories from that time, but I've seen you before during an experiment.
I see. Call me Thanatos, then. It'll be easier. However, since you recognize the name, you must already know everything about Thanatos, right?
Yes. I'm here to reforge the order of life and death in Amphorius.
You know, my sister was a sympathetic, but rather sensitive person. Whenever she didn't want to say what was on her mind, she would avoid eye contact and look off into the distance. Just like what you are doing now.
Can you tell me about the last Era Nova? What did you do, Plixia?
Where should I begin? I suppose we can start from the beginning. A long, long time ago, there were a pair of like-minded twins. As foretold in the prophecy, they were chosen to be successors to the god of death. But fate was cruel. The price of attaining divinity was to take the life of a family member with our own hands.
That trial was indeed recorded in that memory.
Then you should already know that my sister voluntarily gave up her own life, so that I could ascend as the demigod of death. But I couldn't accept that. Why did we have to kill each other for a future she'd never see herself? That's not fair. So, while weaving the laws of the new world, I shattered the forbidden bottom line for life and death. I reshaped my sister's soul and took the form of the great dragon Pollux to carry her up the River of Souls and back into the mortal realm. But our fates were already decided and manifested in unexpected ways in response to my futile actions. Aging is an unbreakable law of nature laid upon humankind, created at the same time as death. When the living die, their souls will meet Thanatos, who would determine where every soul goes. If the Reaper raises their left hand, the soul is granted death and allowed to enter the Netherrealm to await reincarnation. If they raise their right hand, the soul is rejected by the netherrealm and returned to the mortal realm to continue walking the earth.
That's why the Hand of Shadow can only lay down judgment and not embrace another being.
Yes. Death was originally a pair of hands, but they were split in twain when we reached the mortal realm, never to touch each other ever again. The half of Thanatos that represents life, the undying human who grants death, that was the curse I forced upon you.
Then, what about you?
As the half of Thanatos representing death, I shoulder the fate of defying death. I died the moment I entered the world of the living. From then on, my Titan also no longer existed in this world. The cycle of life and death stopped. Souls were denied their audience with death, and were left stranded within an ever-rising river of the dead. What irony. My selfish desire to save your life gave you and the world a fate far worse than death instead. Then, what was left of my reason was left behind in the netherrealm, where I've been taking care of these flowers day after day, until there is now a sea of them, all while mulling over the subject of life, death, parting, and enduring an endless loneliness.
Oh. Fate is absurd indeed. Our lives were a mirrored image of one another, like a pair of hands. Even so, we arrived at the same destination. We walked different paths, yet experienced the same pain.
I had hoped that maybe you would at least have a good life in this cycle. I'm sorry.
I lived my life well. It didn't go to waste. As far as I'm concerned, you did nothing wrong.
Even though I forced the authority of granting death to humanity upon you, a total stranger.
Too many responsibilities were forced upon me in the course of this long journey. I was once lost, even upset. But I realized recently that if it weren't for your blessing, I wouldn't have understood the source of these emotions, nor would I have realized my purpose. I wouldn't have made it here to reunite with my missing half. And we wouldn't be discussing our past while sharing the same view of this landscape. I wouldn't have understood the meaning of our existence.
The meaning of our existence.
This sea of flowers blooms on dead land, because we sowed it with the seeds of our separation and watered it with our tears of loneliness. Yes, the only thing death is allowed to create are flowers that bloom from blood and tears. That's why Thanatos cannot create living beings at will. Nor can the Hand of Shadow determine a person's remaining days. Because the life and death of mortals should never be dictated by another's will.
Are you saying there's no point in Thanatos' existence?
No. No single being can bear the scales of life and death on their own, not even a god. Life and death weigh equally heavy. We both know that now, don't we?
You, too, must have had a difficult life. We've taken quite the ridiculous journey together, haven't we? I had a feeling, even back then, that we would meet again one day. Not to embrace one another after a long separation, but to come in search of retribution. Tell me the answer that's already been written, and let us draw this seemingly endless fate to a close. It's been far too long. I've waited here for centuries, watching day after day as desperate spirits are denied by this lonely wasteland. I always hoped I would see you among them, but I was also afraid of seeing you. I didn't know how I could possibly face you again, but more than anything, I was afraid that you might have forgotten all about me.
I know. But don't you see, Polixia? I made it back anyway. You don't have to shoulder death's authority on your own anymore. It was always meant to be held in two hands anyway. So, let's give our core flame to her, and have her take it back to the mortal realm. Give humanity back their cycle of life and death. Our responsibility as Thanatos was never about picking out favorite souls. We were only meant to watch over life. Let's tend the field together, and create a warm sea of flowers for all the souls to come. What do you think, Polixia?
Yes, just one last step. You shall wither, and through that, the dead will sprout again from the remains, and be reborn with the dead flame. As foretold by the prophecy, Thanatos' authority is only destined for only one person to wield. As the Chrysos heir of death, as their demigod, as a titan, our fated moment has arrived once again.
Just like before.
Yes, just like before. But unlike that time, the ones undergoing the trial this time are prepared.
You've made up your mind?
Yes, as dictated by fate. But I won't be afraid, as long as you're here with me. Complete your trial in this life. Grant me the embrace of death, and light the spark of life ablaze. You've been tempered by life and death. I know you'll be able to give this wasteland its first breath of life. Like a raven butterfly, flying swiftly into the netherrealm, perching on the twig of death.
I will. After this, I will remain permanently in the Netherrealm. The river of souls shall return here and rain down from the sky, scattering souls across the earth. The cycle of life and death will flow once again. This sea of flowers you sowed shall bear countless joyous or sorrowful souls, and bloom evermore.
Just one last thing. Can you grant me one wish?
Of course. What is it?
Please, don't forget me.
I promise you. When we meet in the next world, even if I have endured another reincarnation, even if we do not know each other's names, I will still hold you tightly in my arms. Just like what I did when we were born.
Casterus. Casterus. You're as beautiful as a fleeting butterfly.
I will bring rest to death. And from now on, stagnant life will once again flow.
Time flies. In the blink of an eye, the 15th entry hour is already at hand. When this farce is over, your soul will be placed on the scales of life and death. Are you ready?
No need to ask so many times. Of course I am.
Then why do you drag your feet? Is your fear of crowds holding you back again?
I simply find them too noisy. Paying attention to conceited fools like them would be an utter waste of my time.
Such harsh words. As I see it, you are no less arrogant than they are.
I couldn't agree more.
Oh. I did not expect to hear that from you. Are you not going to refute me?
I know myself better than you think I do. At the very least, better than a stowaway like you.
And they say men whose ends are nigh have but kind words. Well, that is exactly why I chose you.
Should I thank you for the compliment?
The hour of the trial has come. Do you have an answer for me? And how will you prove the veracity of your argument?
I suppose there is no point in putting this off any longer. Do you recall where we stopped the last time?
You were saying that Amphorius's history is cyclical.
Indeed. The demigods that bear the core flames eventually become the new titans at the world's end. Remember what happened on the Holy Mountain? Calypso, Naias. As their destined ends approached, one by one, they left this world, leaving only the twins, who are fated to succeed death. Unfortunately, while their journey is consistent with ours, you and Calypso, as well as Nikodor and Naias, act as supporting evidence. I can only come up with a rough sketch for my theory of a cyclical history. For all the pains I took to reach this point, I had already lost hope of ever obtaining definitive proof. After all, the past is in the past. Proving that we are the legacies of heroes of the past is a hopeless endeavor. That is, until I met a girl named Polixia and her sister. If Castoris was truly sent from the past to the present for the Titan's self-serving reasons, then having lived through 2 cycles, and with Styxia as the pivot, she will no doubt be the link to connect all of this together. If the Twins of Death can bridge 2 cycles to reunite at the shores of the Sea of Souls, then my hypothesis will no longer be just a hypothesis. And you too will get the answer to your question.
Well, that is all well and good, but how can you be so sure? If there is even the slightest error in your hypothesis, the girl will be shattered.
It matters not. The most important quality a scholar must possess is foolhardiness. If you are overly cautious, then you'll never have the gumption to make the first step, and change will never come. Besides, I, Anaxagoras, am destined to overturn this farcical world. Come, let us go and teach those pathetic worms one final lesson. Finen. So they are leaving the final debate to him.
Let those Chrysos heirs who started this terrible war hear you. Let them hear the voices of the people!
As always, that woman knows how to stir up a crowd.
Professor Anaxa, I thought you'd pass on this.
Everyone must cast their vote, or this assembly would serve no purpose.
Prof, do you truly think it's wise to entrust the fate of the world to an assembly like this?
Akama has stood strong under this system for 1,000 years. It stands to reason that there is purpose in its existence. But that is not what you're asking, is it? What you really want to know is Aglaya making the right decision in entrusting the fate of the world to you?
Nothing ever escapes you.
I didn't spend all those years teaching you for nothing. Most people only take 4 years to graduate, if I recall.
To tell the truth, I feel like I'm on my way to an execution chamber instead of a podium. So, do you have an answer to that question?
No, I don't.
I thought so.
Because that question is not yours to ask in the first place. Is Aglaya entrusting the world to you the right decision? Don't make me laugh. That is a question that woman must answer herself. Why are you fretting about this on her behalf? Or have you been seeing yourself as her pawn all this time? Listen up. I'll say this only once. Flip your perspective around and ask yourself this instead. What should I do to ensure that the world doesn't stray from the correct path? That is what you should be thinking about. You still have time, so give it some thought. Oh, and don't bother telling me the answer. Tell it to those begging for salvation from the gods.
Got it.